Okay, so our ink is dry, so let's start cutting. So first thing I'm going to do is cut that top off that balloon. And you're going to want to use some good quality detail cutting scissors for these. You're not going to want to use some big, huge scissors because you just have a little bit more control over what you're cutting when you have smaller scissors with a shorter blade that are really sharp. And like I said, the images that I chose for this are all ones that are very simple to cut out. There's nothing that is too complicated or too much of a pain to cut out. I think the hardest ones really is we need to cut out the beak from this one and the eyes from this one, and because the pieces get a little bit small, they do get a little bit more challenging to hold onto them while you're cutting, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So the thing that you want to be careful of when you are doing this is you need to think about back to front, and you want to glue things that go behind other things down first before you're gluing the things that go in front of it. So you'll see I have some of those eggs behind my chick. I need to glue those ones down first. So I'm actually going to use my tweezers to hold this. Especially with the small pieces, you'll find this is a little bit helpful. This particular set of tweezers is pressure, so it holds it on its own. Like I don't need to be squeezing it for it to hold it. I'm going to put that one there. And then this one here is also going to go behind the bird or the chick. And then this one here goes behind the other egg. So I want to glue that one down first before I glue that green one in front of it. And you can put your eggs however you want. I'm just trying to make sure that they're not all the same angle. So I don't want to have a bunch of eggs all looking like they're on the same angles because it looks a little bit unnatural that way. And once again, I'm using my Distress Collage medium for this because anything that happens to squish out, if I happen to get a little bit too much glue, it's going to be completely clear and it's going to be matte, so you're not going to see it. Oops. So there we go. Now let's do the bunny ears. Now this part of the bunny ears is going to go behind the bird's head, so I don't need to worry about cutting that out. It's going to be covered. So you can see he actually comes to, or she actually comes together quite quickly. Especially if you're cutting it and then gluing it down at the same time. Once again, I'm going to hold this piece here. This is also a great way to use up a bunch of scraps. If you happen to have a bunch of paper scraps, this is perfect for it. Let's do the bird's body. And once again, I don't need to cut his legs because that's going to drive you insane. Don't need to cut those tufts of hair. That's why we've stamped them all. And I don't need to cut his little tail. Just cut it right off. This one here is not super hard to hold in my hand, so I'm not even going to use my tweezers for that. And then all we're doing is matching it to the stamped image that we have already there. So it's, I mean, it's nearly foolproof, really. Now this one here, we're going to cut his beak, her beak. And other than my printed papers from that paper pad, anything that's solid, these are all just paper scraps. And you don't necessarily need to choose printed ones. You could choose solid ones. There's no reason why you couldn't. I just did the prints with this one because A, they all coordinate together. They were pretty, they're nice and springy. It was a paper pad I already had on my shelf. But the sky's the limit when it comes to this here. Once again, we're just gluing it right on top of the stamped image that's already there. So I don't even need to think about it. I know exactly where they're going. And like I said before, this is the most tricky part, is cutting the tiny pieces here. There we go, hold it with the tweezers. Just leave my cap off for the moment. There we go. I have a little bit too much glue. It seeps right under, but I don't need to worry about it. It's going to be matte and it's going to be clear. So the only people that are going to know it's there are me and whoever's watching. There we go. That other bit can get tossed. And then let's glue this on. There we go. So we're going to let this dry, make sure he's completely dry, and then I'll see you in the next video, and we're going to put our card together and just add a few extra accents to it.